What's it like? Do you miss it? Do you miss not being involved in the cut and thrust there of transfer deadline day, or is it nice to look from the outside now?
It's nice to look from the outside, Paul. You know, it's always I think it's a day where you really don't want to be that involved. It's nice to have a team that's going well. You don't need any players. You're quite happy with what you got. You know, I always found myself in a situation where you're scrapping away to either stay up or get somewhere or try to get promoted or whatever, and trying to improve your team a bit. But I would think one or two clubs, probably Liverpool, won't do anything today. Man City probably won't bother. You know, it would be nice to be in their position for sure.
I want to talk to you about the lengths as a manager, Harry, you would go to get the guy you want. And I'm thinking at one stage, I think when you were the Spurs manager, Eden Hazard, who I remember as Chelsea. I don't remember seeing his name as a Spurs player.
I would have liked to have done.
But you tried to woo this guy. Tell us the story.
Well, no, Joe Cole rang me. Joe was playing out in France, and he rang me up and said, Harry, I'm playing with the best player I've ever played with. And so I went over at the weekend on a Sunday to watch him, and in 10 minutes you knew he was an incredible talent, you know. And I ended up meeting him in a hotel room and chatting him and talking to him. And he was keen to come to Tottenham at the time, but it wasn't easy. We couldn't get the deal. You know, Daniel was at the time didn't want to spend that money. And so I ended up losing him. But, I mean, yeah, most deals are done, Eamon. They're done way before they come into it. And, you know, will Chelsea get Fofana? Listen, everything's done. The agent knows about it. The player knows. The wages are sorted. You know, it's all done behind the scenes. I mean, probably the funniest one I had was with the boy Odawingi, who I was taking to QPR, you know, and we were still negotiating and couldn't get a deal with West Brom. Then suddenly the cameras are outside the Loftus Road, QPR's ground, and he turns up in a car coming into the stadium. The chairman at West Brom sees it, and he's not even agreed to deal with him. He was still their player, you know, so that one didn't happen in the end. He wasn't too happy, the chairman at QPR, and pulled the plug on the deal. But no, it's an interesting day, obviously, for some clubs who are desperate to get a few players in still.
How late does it actually go, Harry? Because a lot of us, we're watching right down to the last minute, aren't we, thinking, is someone going to come in? Are these deals bubbling under maybe days before, or really do they go right down to the wire and all of a sudden... I'm thinking about, like, Rafa van der Vaart when he signed for Spurs, and that was on deadline day, right a couple of hours before. Does it just come through and it's all of a sudden, look, we've got a chance of this great player, and it just comes from nowhere?
Yeah, it can drag on, you know, and it can go down to the wire, Paul. You know, we would look at the loan Rafa, and suddenly Daniel did well. Daniel said, listen, they won't loan him, we can buy him. They want some money. We can get him for $8 million, which was absolute snip. He was a fantastic footballer. So we end up taking him at the last minute. Yeah, quite often they go right. Listen, I mean, the problem is you probably got to find some of the players you're trying to sign. They're probably out in a nightclub somewhere. You're trying to find them at 10 o'clock at night. You know, it's very difficult.
Is it true that you had to once physically wake up a player and put him on a plane to get the transfer through?
Well, I sold Benjiani. You know, it was early in the day. I mean, he was at the club, but I had to. He wasn't keen to go, and Man City were paying an awful lot of money for him. Sven was the manager, Sven-Goran Eriksson, and I thought that they were paying top money. I loved Benji. He was you know he was a great lad and everything, but the money they offered, I felt, was a fantastic offer. But he wasn't too keen, so I had to push him onto the runway at Southampton Airport. You know, and he kept saying, "No, I like it here, Gaff." I'm going, "No, Benji, go to Man City. They have a better manager than me. Sven, he's fantastic."
There's no such thing as a better manager than Harry Redknapp, for crying out loud.
He'll teach you how to score goals, Benji. Go on, off you go.
What's it like, Harry, to be rejected? I mean, is it like you woo somebody? I mean, with Hazard, you sat in a hotel bedroom with him for hours and hours trying to convince him to sign. Yeah. And then actually you think, you know, it's like, give us a kiss, you're going to do it. And they say no. Yeah,
well, it happens a lot, Eamon. You know, somebody else comes in and offers more money or whatever. But that one there was just as that was a case of at that time, you know, we didn't want to spend the money, Tottenham. But I mean, Daniel loves, you know, Paul knows all about Tottenham. You know, they love, Daniel loves a last-minute deadline deal. I took 3 players off him. We went to sign one, but he done a special buy 2, get 1 free deal when I was at Portsmouth with Tottenham. I mean, that is Daniel, you know, buy 1, get 1 free. And but he's a great negotiator, and he loves it.
How does it actually work, though, Harry? Again, there's always reporters outside training grounds. Everything's locked. We see the lights on and it's dark, and all of a sudden these things get rolled out. Is it you on the phone, or generally is it the manager? Is it the chairman? You know, we always hear about facts coming through. So who's doing the deals and who's speaking to who in these situations?
Normally the chairman is doing them, Paul. You know, he'll be on the phone and back in the day, you know, long time, it was a manager to manager, but now it's chief executive, chairman. They do all the deals, you know. I mean, I'll be honest, half the time the managers probably don't even know who's coming in. It's probably someone the chairman fancies, or you know. And so he goes, "Oh, I've just signed you, whatever his name is," you know, and you think, "Oh well." You know,
I tell you, everybody must fancy Erling Haaland at Man City. They paid 51 million quid in the summer from Dortmund. That's an absolute steal. That guy is magic, isn't he?
How good does he look, Eamon? You know, I mean, it's it's unbelievable. Look at his age. Look at him. His power, his finishing. He's got everything, hasn't he? He looks just amazing. Another hat-trick last night. I would think that at the start of the year you could have bet him to be top goal scorer. I think the bookies will probably be paying out next week on that one. He just looks amazing. What a signing! But and he'll tip the balance, I would think, this year. Man City, I mean, they won it last year, you know. But can you see anybody finishing above them now? It's going to be very difficult. Liverpool at the moment picking up results here and there. Last night, really very fortunate to beat Newcastle. I watched the end of the game after I got back from the Bournemouth game, and Newcastle played fantastic yesterday at Liverpool. But I'd have to fancy Man City this year, what I've seen so far.
Finally, we haven't had the call then from Bournemouth then, Harry. They haven't given you the call yet, have they, to come in and save it?
No, that's going to be interesting. You know, I went last night, Paul, and they did okay. They worked hard. They rode their luck a bit. Wolves missed a couple of great chances to win the game, but you couldn't have asked for more effort. Gary O'Neill, great lad who's in charge at the moment. I'd love to see him do well and have a crack at the job, you know, but who knows what will happen. It's going to be interesting. 1 or 2 names in the frame. Sean Dyche mentioned John Terry. I like John. I think John, given the opportunity one day, will be a fantastic manager. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Anything, Harry, just finally, you've got your eye on before 11 o'clock tonight. Anyone to get over the line? Any surprise ones, or anyone that there's going to be pressure on to get the deal done?
I don't know. I mean, Man United have bought a couple in aim, and, you know, you needed them, that's for sure. Got a couple of signings done. They may still, you know, try to get another one in. That's always possible. But I think the big two, you know, I think Liverpool, Man City, who, you know, favourites for Tottenham, look like they've done their business. They've strengthened their squad. I think it might be quiet at the top of the league. There'll be a few panics down at the bottom, clubs trying to stay up and knowing how difficult their season's going to be. They'll probably try to strengthen. Not for us to sign about 22 players, but unfortunately it didn't help them much last night at Man City when they got beat 6.